Big Board Sports with Roger Wyland on 104.5 The Team.
Michael Powell, New York Times Sports at the Times columnist with us here on Big Board Sports, 104.5 The Team, ESPN Radio, and Albany. Michael, Roger Wyland, along with Chris Honorado. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Morning, Michael.
I'll be a lot better with Tim Tebow's at Citi Field.
He's already started this, man.
He's
already
earned it,
started
Michael.
this.
He has earned the right to go to Citi Field. Ask any minor league manager about the improvements that he's made in his game over the last couple of years.
Oh, that's just great. No, a 31-year-old who's hitting 250 at Double-A. Bring him on up.
Wait a minute. Yeah. Michael, check his stats over the last 18 games. They're really good.
The last 18 games, but what about the last 2 years?
Michael,
a baseball of all sports does not reward small sample sizes. I mean, but more to the point, the idea that a team with as lackluster a minor leagues, with as bad a player development system as the Mets have, that they are spending any time trying to breathe life into this 31-year-old former failed quarterback to get him to the majors is just an indictment of this team.
Michael, I'm on your side here, but humor us, if you will, for a moment, because I also believe this. Not that Tebow deserves a shot in the majors, but I do believe that, it wouldn't be crazy to see him in September at Citi Field. PR stunt, yes, 100%, but a way to sell tickets and while also turn off the fan base, still somehow energize it. I could see it happening.
I could tell. No. There, I agree with you. I could easily see it happening. And frankly, given that at that point they're going to be, they probably are going to be chasing 105 losses, you might as well, my kid was a pretty good high school catcher, and I'm going to suggest he throws in as well. I mean, they might as well do whatever they want to do in September. But I do think, in all seriousness, that it is in a way that's perhaps unfair to Tebow, but it is indicative of the Mets' just sort of strange, priorities. I mean, the Yankees bring up, to look at that team across town, they bring up pretty fully formed prospects. I mean, guys who are really kind of fundamentally solid. And, it's a striking difference between the two teams. It's like one is run as like a club team and the other is run as a major league franchise.
I get that, but Michael, look at this. I mean, Tim Tebow, that's not Tebow's fault that the Mets are such a mess and they have no clue what's going on in their minor league system. Tebow has worked his tail off and has improved his baseball skills immensely. If you believe the managers who have watched him the last couple of years in the minors, that I think he deserves the opportunity, in addition to the fact that he's going to put fans in the seats, what ultimately they are going to need this summer in New York.
Okay. We disagree. I mean, I look at a guy who's sixth on a not great Binghamton team. He's sixth in home runs. And look, the guy works really hard. But then again, I'm sure were we to, sit down with most of the Rumble ponies in Binghamton, we'd find that most of the kids are working really hard, right? I mean, this is their dream. They're pushing as hard as they can to get to the majors. He gets up for a couple of weeks, God bless him.
Michael, let's go back to last night because it just is kind of a microcosm as to the entire season here. Mets have a 3-1 lead. They bring in their closer. They don't have anybody else up in the bullpen ready to go. In case Familia, coming off injury, is not going to be the guy they all expect him to be, and he wasn't. Doesn't record a single out, single, and a walk before Callaway gets him out of there. Have we seen rock bottom with the Mets? I was out at a local fundraiser last night in the Albany area and had a Mets fan come up to me and say, would you and Roger on the radio please find something nice to say about the Mets? And I said, at the first opportunity, I promise we will, and it is not this morning.
No, I know. It's interesting. I mean, I had a similar experience because I'd started to write this column before the sad news about Sandy Alderson, so I put it off for a day. And, you always wonder, well, maybe they're going to now put a couple of great great games back to back, and it'll look a little bit foolish to have a piece whacking them. But they seem, every time you think they've arrived at the basement, it turns out there's a sub-basement below that. and as I see it, I mean, the only strength is they have, one fantastic pitcher and Jacob deGrom, and then a couple, like Wheeler had a wonderful outing yesterday, and perhaps is, working his way back into shape. But it's from several years of injuries. But boy, there's not much to hold on to with this team.
How about this Yankee-Red Sox series that's got people pumped up? And I know in April we say, it doesn't carry a lot of meaning. They're going to play each other a whole bunch of times. Let's all calm down. For some reason, Michael, not for some reason, it is the Yankees-Red Sox, those two teams, two of the best teams in baseball. We are now at the end of June, ready to go to July. This feels like a big deal to me this weekend.
I agree. I mean, I think these are the two. I mean, this is the penthouse of the American League, and neither of these teams, in a sense, deserves, but one of them is going to end up probably in a one-game playoff at the end of the year, whereas the other is going to have a full series. So this means something. I mean, you don't want to have a terrific year, whether you're a Red Sox, fan or a Yankee, and, come down to one game in the end of September, beginning of October. So I think it's a very big series. And I will say, as a lifelong Met fan, I mean, the job that Cashman has done revitalizing this franchise is astonishing. I mean, I think he's kind of hit every note, from kind of free agency to the minor leagues to reinvigorating it with young talent. It's quite impressive.
Michael Powell writes the Sports of the Times column for the New York Times. Check him out on Twitter as well, at Powell NYT. Michael, you're in the city, you're in the depths of it all. What is the mood there as the Yankees continue to rocket to new heights and the Mets find new lows, as we've talked about? Has the city swung one way? Has it always been majorly pro-Yankees?
I think the answer to that last question is no. I mean, it's always important to remember, there were two National League franchises here through the end of, through the mid to late 50s, and that's led to, all kinds of fathers who pass on the kind of National League gene. And when the Mets have played well, they draw. I mean, they draw, upwards of 3 million. But right now, there's no doubt it's a Yankee town right now. I mean, there's, given the bizarre tribal politics of this place, I think there are very few Met fans who are rooting Yankee, but they're certainly laying low, and the Yankee fans justifiably are riding high.
Mm-hmm. Michael, prediction at all on this series with the matchup set? Sabathia Rodriguez, game 1, Gray, Sale, game 2, and then Sunday night, Severino and Price.
Well, I'll certainly put my money on Severino. I just think he's fabulous, and kind of everything that, depressingly, the Mets thought that they had with their young rotation. Honestly, I have no idea. I mean, aside from that game, I think these are two really terrific teams, and I'm looking forward to kind of a return to something of the lunatic quality that's that used to characterize the matches between these teams at the at the stadium.
We can only hope.
Yeah, well, listen, we'll hype it today. We'll hype it again tomorrow morning, and then let her rip here, and hope we have a fun weekend. Michael, thanks a lot.
What's your read? Let me just ask, what's your read on the series?
I think the Red Sox will take 2 out of 3. I think Rodriguez, Boone made a bad move trying to figure out how to win last night's stinking game and pitched Luis Sessa, who's nothing more than a minor league guy. So I think Rodriguez, Red Sox always win when he pitches. I'll give them game 1. I think Sale out pitches Gray in game 2, and I will say Severino on Sunday night is going to be lights out. I give the Yankees 1, I give the Red Sox winning 2 out of 3. There's my prediction.
Sounds reasonable.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And if it goes wrong, we won't discuss it on Monday morning. That's all. Michael, you do great work.
Thanks,
we really
Michael.
appreciate a few minutes.
Thanks a lot. I enjoyed it.
Thank you, Michael. Michael Powell, New York Times.